A very warm good morning to one and all. We are on the fourth day of this online induction program on research paper writing and IP rights, sponsored by AICT New Delhi and organized by A.G. Patil Polytechnic Institute, Solapur, in collaboration with ISTE New Delhi. On behalf of A.G. Patil Polytechnic Institute, I, Naresh Patil, lecturer in Mechanical Engineering Department, would like to welcome our today's guest and keynote speaker, Dr. P.K. Ashwini Kumar, coordinator of this induction program and principal of our institute, Dr. M.A. Chougule, vice principal, Shri James Jaketia, head of Mechanical Engineering Department, Mr. S.K. Mohite, my colleague faculty members and dear participants. The topic of this session is types of intellectual property. And to conduct this session, we are fortunate to have Dr. P.K. Ashwini Kumar among us on this online platform of Google Meet. It's a great privilege for me to introduce him on this occasion of AICTE IST induction program. So here is the brief profile of Dr. Ashwini Kumar. Regarding his educational background, he has completed MSc in 1972 and PhD in 1977, both in physics from Delhi University. He was research associate at IIT Kanpur from 1977 to 1978 and scientist at CSIR National Physical Laboratory from 1978 to 2004. He is also holding MBA from Indira Gandhi National Open University. Also, he has done publication in many reputed research journals and Indian conferences. Regarding his professional experience, he is holding rich experience in the area of low temperature physics, research and development in material science, vacuum technology, material modification by high energy ion irradiation, and IPR management. He is registered patent agent since from 2000. He has been designing and implementing residential solar power system from 1 kilowatt to 4 kilowatt and currently establishing a laboratory for work on composite materials and development of systems for electric vehicles. Regarding his IPR activities, he has been helping individual innovators, startup companies, and large organizations to protect their innovations by patent in India and abroad. Major organizations include Indian Railways, ICAR Group of Laboratories, Indian Institute of Information Technology in Design and Manufacturing. Regarding his current activities, he has established a Turtle IP Trust in 2018, and main objective of this trust is to help and promote the need for protection of inventions for economic development and to help the organizations to create IPR cell to take care of the needs for protection of invention. Also, he is co-founder of Inomon Technologies Private Limited, where he is taking care of interfacing with business and legal advisors, planning product design and business development in the short, medium term for the time. So we are fortunate to have Dr. Ashwini Kumar sir among us to conduct this session. With this brief introduction, once again, I welcome you, sir, and request you to initiate this session on types of intellectual property. Over to you, sir.
Can you start?
Yes, sir, you can start the
Thank you,
session.
sir, and thank you, AGPIT Institute, for inviting me to share my experiences, whatever little I got. I'll try to do my best to help you understand what IPR is and what IPR can do to you to create wealth and become rich, not only for yourself, also for the society and the country. So we are lucky to have a lot of innovators in the country who are very bright young students, faculty, and I am very much overwhelmed by interacting with all of them. But in Solapur area, that a lot of people have filed a lot of patent application and design application from through me. Really privilege for me. So let me start my small thing. Is the screen visible to all of you?
Yes, sir, it's visible.
Thank you. So coming about hour and a half, I'll just discuss on broad aspects of intellectual property. What are these and how we actually acquire intellectual property and how do we use it to create wealth for ourselves and economic development for the society and the country at large. So my intro has been given by Mr. Patil already. Thank you for sir. Let us go forward. Now, obviously, you asked what is intellectual property. Two words, intellectual and property. Intellectual will always assign to brain work. Property means something you see physically or own physically, like house or a car or even financial instrument like deposits. So obviously, the two words joining together means something great. What is it? Now, intellect is mind, related to mind. What is that? The property, or these two are known to anybody. And how to combine the two together?
Just scroll.
Is it okay, sir? Is the screen visible totally?
Sir,
Sir, screen is visible, sir.
intellectual,
Am I visible?
sir, intellectual, yes, sir, it's visible.
Yes, sir. Your screen is also visible, and audio video both are also clear, sir.
Okay.
You can proceed, sir.
Okay, thank you. I got it out actually. Okay. So we know intellectual by brain, property means we know, and what is wealth? So the two together will help to create wealth. And how does it create? I'll tell you. And coming to slides. Now, anything you make, whether you write a software or you develop a product or develop a process, first thing it happens is in your mind. You think on it and then you start working on that. So let us take an example of a house. What you do, you first purchase a landed area, then you some 60 by 40 square feet of area. Then you start planning your design of the house. So many rooms, each room will have so many windows, then how many floors, how the walls will be looking, how the windows will put. So you start thinking on your mind how my house will be, dream house, a garden or whatever, some porch area. So that is a manifestation of your mind thinking. You plan in your mind what my house should look like. So that the first step you start using your brain to develop something new, useful for you. That's one part. Now, how it looks externally, like a jewel or a car or a bike, not worried about the functionality, but how it looks outside, the contour. That's also a part of your own brain, the appearance of the item. Then you give a name to your property, like this house you may give some name, Vishnu or something. Then jewelry you can give some earring, some name. So that name also, GE is a name of a company. So this also is a manifestation of your mind, that you think some classy name, like in recently in electric vehicles you see Ola, Ather, all those things, Okinawa, Hero, they're all names of the products. So they also have given some thoughts to these names itself. Now, there's something you do which you don't want to tell others because they may copy and make money out of it. So you keep your mouth shut, whatever you thought in mind, you don't tell anybody. Okay. Now, you write research papers. In the end of the paper, you might see a thing called C, copyright. So that is also writing a research paper or making a PPT presentation is also a manifestation of your brain because you thought of certain sequence of writing the paper or designing a PPT. So all these things are a manifestation of your brain only from your intellect, and you are generating certain thing which is tangible or intangible. All these are called properties. So both put together are called intellectual property. All these figures you see are actually components of intellectual property, which I'll come now. The first one, the making of house. So I said you purchase a land and you design, register it. Then you design the architecture, rooms, design of rooms, windows, all those things, material, plastering, bricks. Then you handle a contract to build a house, you give a drawing, then it is constructed fully, authorities give you possession letter, and then you occupy it. Now, after starting the image in your mind, going through entire process, you have come out with a tangible product called your own house. So this whole process, which is imaged out of your mind, we call it as a patent because you have developed a process Now, architectural design is you are thought of from your own mind and given to architect to design it on paper. And that is something your own thing. And the total process of making the house is a process which results in the house. So this thing is called patent, which has got a technological process which could involve engineering, architectural design, and also the legal process through which you go to the authority to get the property registered. So the first thing, which is a tangible product, which could be a manufacturing process or a product itself, is called a patent, which has come out of your mind. Intellectual property. The first product is patent. Now, this is something which we have made. It's a bike. Now, this is having some external appearance. So the seat is there, wheels are there, back seat is there, and this is just an appearance, not a technology. So it is called a design. Similarly, jewel. You see it a fish type thing. Some spokes are there, some hooks are there. So we are not worried about what material it is made of, just the external appearance. So this manifestation of from your mind, the look of it, this is called a design. The first one and second one, they are called design. This is the second component of the intellectual property. Like a motorbike also, you see it has got handle, a tank, a seat, wheels, everything. What you see or perceive is the external appearance, and that also has come out of an imagination in your mind. So hence intellectual property. The physical appearance is called the design. So this second component. The third one, the GE is a very famous company worldwide, General Electric. You see the current font and the design of this thing. Anybody who sees this on any product, which, oh, this is from General Electric. So General Electric is identified by this name, by this abbreviation on all the products. It could be an aeroplane or it could be anything. And this is called a trademark. This has got speciality. There's any name associated with product signifies the quality of the processes and the product and organization. So it's the third one, which is called the trademark. Very important component in the business world, and it generates a lot of money to lawyers because normally people tend to copy what others have done to save money and time. And there it comes all the problem for the creator because he or she has to fight against the infringer or copycats. So these first three are extremely important components of intellectual property. And I strongly recommend all my inventors to please don't leave at one point, go forward to others also. Like if you have made a product, try to file a design and application also, which gives external appearance, and give a name also. So you get 3 in 1. It's a very strong bundle. This is a logo of our own company, Innovant Technology. This has been registered as a logo, the trademark office. So nobody can copy this. My company, Innovant Technology, is known by this logo in the public now. This is a certificate given to the company name by trademark authorities. So nobody can dare to copy this word to start a company or to give a name to the product. I'll come details of these processes. Copyright. Now, all of us are researchers, we academics, and we write research papers, and we write softwares also. We may make design on clothes, saris or whatever. We may design a cloth, or we may put color to a cloth, or we may design a musical composition. We may design a cinematography event. We click a lot of pictures. So all these things are the result of our own brain, where we plan and execute and bring out this artwork. It's called artwork, which is covered by what is called as copyright. And the specialty of this thing is the day you create, you actually get a protection. You don't have to formally apply for this, but there's a small process wherein you can register a copyright, your artwork, and it is valid for a very long time. This I'll explain in the future slides. So we have seen what are the various components of intellectual property: patent, design, trademark, copyright. Copyright normally is at a low key, but it has some importance anyway nowadays. Now, this is interesting. Now, this comes actually basically from kitchenware. You have heard of Coca-Cola, and a lot of other cuisines are available worldwide where you really can't know how they've cooked. Coca-Cola formula was not known for a very long time. And there's one restaurant in Bangalore, Hyderabad Biryani. They make very tasty biryani with a very specific taste. They cook rice in a very typical way. They put masalas in a typical way. It's very fabulous. And the recipe is not known to anybody. They don't want to tell anybody. So, what is this secret called? This is called trade secret. This is one which is not published in public domain at all. They don't want to share their knowledge because they will lose their monopoly on that. So this is the fourth one, which is fairly important, but not practiced very popularly because it has got a lot of complications. Because trade secret normally be kept by a group of people, and trust is important there. Suppose somebody default, then that's all gone. So how to manage this IP, intellectual property, is a bit tricky. So normally you won't find that many trade secrets in the world. Patent, design, trademark, copyright are very common, but this one is not so common. Very few. So this is just a summary of what IP is. Intellectual. Briefly, it's called IP in common parlance. It's patent, a design, a trademark, a copyright, a trade secret. For technologists and scientists and engineers, patent, design are very important. From business point of view, trademark is very important. Copyright normally we do have, because we are all researchers, we write publications, so you see, or write a book also. That C figure always gives you copyright. Trade secret is not too much, so sorry for the spell. So we'll take one by one. This is a snapshot of what suppose you have filed for a patent. Then what do we get out of it? You have described your invention in a technical document, legal document. We describe the invention and we claim the invention with figures. So Indian Patent Office issues a certificate, soft copy nowadays, which proves that you are the legal owner of the intellectual property. This is the snapshot for a patent document, patent granted. So I'll come to this subsequently, how patent is filed for and how it is granted and what is the term of the patent. So this is a very prized position for anybody to get a patent. Now, okay, I say you should get patent, you should file for patent, everything is okay. How do you get it? What is the process? So each has got its own process, but generally some few things are common. Now, what happens is, say you are the applicant. Applicant could be an individual person or an organization like AGI PAT. You will approach an attorney or an agent. They are the people who are recognized by government to appear before them for any processing. As I am an agent, I'll ask you details. Let's say you want to file a patent for an invention, which is a technology product, let us say. So I'll ask you all the details. Look, what is the greatness of your product? Tell me that. Then it is your responsibility to tell me everything without hiding anything. Then only I'll know whether your product is novel or not, because novelty is not on Indian basis. Novelty is based on a global basis. Then I will do some research on patent database or Google or other websites to see whether anybody has made a thing similar to you or better than you. So you have to convince me by discussion and argument. Look, my invention is better than those who have who are known in the public domain, or my invention totally new. Totally new is normally very rare because things have progressed so much nowadays that what we do normally is incremental only, incremental improvement. But there's no problem because incremental improvement can be 1% or 20%, but the incremental improvement should be very substantially innovative. So once you convince me, look, mine is novel based on the research on the databases, and you'll tell me one more thing, what are the steps which you have taken to bring in that novel feature? Unless you convince me of the inventive step, I won't be convinced to file a patent application for you. So you have to convince me on two grounds: novelty on a global basis and inventive step on a global basis, and non-obviousness. Like suppose you make some mechanical engineering stuff and I tell another engineer, look, this is what it is. He may, oh, there's nothing great in that, I could have made anyway. So that becomes an obvious step. So you have to specifically convince me, sir, this is novel and this is inventive step. Once you do that, I'm done. Then what I do is I'll prepare a patent document which has got a structure. Normally it is standard for worldwide, but generally it will contain a title of the invention and a background. That is, you have to specify what is the problem you have faced and what is the need to solve the problem. Unless there is need to solve the problem, there is no point in filing a patent invention. Ultimately, end of the day, it has to be used by the society. Then we have to give citation of the prior art. That is, people who have done similar work, their work is inferior to my work. Once it is done, then we write total description with some examples and drawings, and we draft some claims. The claims are very important. These are the battleground for any businesses. And it is the wording there in the claim which gives us the IP right. So once we discuss the patent document with the inventor, once he signs up, okay, fine, everything's fine, I've understood, then we file it electronically with the patent office, whether India or abroad. And there they have their own internal processes. Then they assign to experts and they examine the patent. That is, they'll go through the entire document to look for formal and technical compliances, and they will come out with what is called first examination report, which will detail the shortcomings of the invention. And they will do their own research. Against each item, they will say, look, this guy has done this one, you have not that one. We have done same thing what he has done, which is prior to your application. So your invention is not novel. Or he will say, invention may be novel, but inventive step is obvious. Look, he could have done same thing as you have done, he has done. So on that count, he will say, your patent is not grantable, but that doesn't stop you from going forward. That is just a first attempt to know that your patent needs some clarification. You have to clarify the objections to the examiner. So that report comes to an agent or attorney. They will examine that objection, discuss with the inventor applicant, look, this is what he has said, so please give us a clarification. So they will clarify to us, and we will again furnish the response to the patent office. And they will either accept it or they will say, come for hearing. That is, we get one more chance to explain to them across the table, look, this is what the inventor says and this is what we also feel correct. So once that is done, then the examiner, the control will study again and give his opinion and grant the patent. So this entire process, starting from the filing of the application, going through the examination report, going through the hearing, and it takes about 2 years or so to get the final letter of patent from the patent office. And then we have to pay all the fees and all. So this process in a nutshell is similar to other IP applications. I'll come across that also. So this is the first step. Get the information from the inventor, prepare the document by agent, file it with the patent or the trademark office, response to the examination report of the controller, file a response, attend to hearing, and wait for the result, and which could be positive or negative also. But normally in my case, I've been lucky. It has been mostly positive. Just one or two staircases have been negative. So once the patent gets granted, then we go forward. Okay, now you have got the patent granted. Fine, I'm very happy. I can put in biodata. I got a patent number. Now I feel very happy. I may get promotions. Then what next? Is it sufficient just to get a patent document? You get a patent document, the government will ask for money every year. You have to pay for that. Otherwise, you lose the legal rights and somebody else will take it away. So obviously, you can ask, what do I do now? Can I use it? So let us see what you can do after this. Just don't feel happy that we have got a patent granted. No, that's not the way. Yes. Now, you have spent a lot of money and time. One patent you file may take about 3-4 years of your research experience, research work, and some money also. Then you must try to make money out of it. This is called working of IP. That means you have to commercialize it, give it to somebody, or you make your own product by your own knowledge and sell it in the market. Both these situations are possible. But it's not just like that. A lot of things happen because once patent has been granted, then it is known to public because it's available worldwide. Documents are available. People can download from various databases and study what you have done. You may have got patent in India. Somebody in USA may get interested in your patent invention, and then he may think, oh, this is granted in India. Let me use in USA. You can't do anything. So I'll come to that aspect also. So you must use your patent somehow. Now, what are the possible ways? I'll tell you. Now, AGPIT is a academic institute, so you can go for funding for further research once you get a patent granted. Let's say in mechanical engineering, some device you have made, you can always approach the government, if you need to DST or other industries. Look, I got an invention. Why not you use it and give me some funding for further research? I can improve more and more. So that is one point. Or an IP holder can start a own business, like we in Inoman have started our own company on one IP. Or instead of you're working yourself, you can scout for any industry. Look, I have got, would you like to take it? You can either give it fully or you can license it for some royalty and yearly income, which can be negotiated mutually. So either outright sale or it can be given on license basis. So these are 4 possible ways of using your granted IP. Right now I'm talking about patent, but same applies to other things, design, trademark, copyright also. So as I said, this applies to everything. You might have got patent, you have got design, you have trademark also. If you have software, you have got copyright also. So all these 4, bundle of 4 should be used to make money. Now, let me come to one aspect, patent. You have made one device, let's say electronic device or whatever. I've seen from so a lot of students have filed design application. I've been telling further to file for patent also because they have very niche technologies there, but still they have to come back. Filing just a patent is not sufficient, especially for mechanical people. They can file for design also, and they should, and go forward the name also. In case of design, that have filed for their students, they have filed a design and they've given some names also, but they have not come back for trademark. So there's some gap still there. So that's why I strongly recommend that please don't leave at one point. Go forward and build up a basket, what I call a basket of IP. This is the basket I tell. Patent is one, design is one, trademark. For all the engineering domain and pharma also, all 3 should, not for pharma, but engineering domain definitely, all 3 should be taken. Just not leave at patent or design. Trademark normally people don't take, but that's a wrong strategy. One should take that also. Now, this is something important. Let me say you have a motorcycle. You have designed a very jazzy motorcycle with a lot of high-end parameters, speed, BHP, lighting, engine capacity, fuel tank capacity, whatever. If you put a motorcycle in Google patent, you will see 10,000s of patents available. What does it mean? That is, people aren't working only on just big motorcycle only. They are working on different parts also, engine and other things. So it's always prudent to, if you have developed, say, let me say you have done one four-stroke engine design in technology. Don't leave at that one point only. There may be a lot of other things also which you can do with the engine itself. So best is to go on developing more and more and more IP, innovation thing. Even small thing can be there. You have fins, you have an exhaust pipe, everything is there. So you should build up a strong portfolio, bundle of patent on a particular theme itself. I can give an example of electric vehicle. Lithium-ion battery is one thing. That's not just one thing. There's a BMS also in that. A lithium-ion battery will have things like spot welding. Now, in that itself, I can build up at least 5 to 7 patent applications. One should not just leave at the one point, but go forward, go deep dive into each and every component of the system that you are invented and build up a portfolio. Now, what is the landscape? That's what. If you search on Google or whatever, so many people are making a lot of bicycles. Bicycle is one small thing, but so why so many people are doing so many things? Different motors, different handlebar, different frame design, different battery packs. Then there will be interneting. Then there will be pedal assist system. Ranges are there. So you have to look into all these parameters on a particular product and build a landscape. So you get a bird's eye view of what's happening in a particular product category. So I'm giving the example of bicycle itself, which is mind-boggling. You look up and you see, you go to YouTube, put e-bicycle, then see thousands and thousands will come. Every gully mohalla people are doing that. So you have got to know what's happening in particular product area, and categorize and make a Excel sheet, which we call a landscape. You can make different fields to know what battery size is, what motor size is, what is the frame size is, what the frame material is, what is the welding points are there, whether TIG or laser, whatever, what the weight of the frame itself. All these things you'll get to know, and then you'll get to know where are the gaps. That's where your ingenuity comes in. So landscape is a very critical phenomena, which unfortunately in Indian scenario, nobody works on that. Which I strongly vouch, please do. If you select one product, please do landscape. Definitely, don't leave it. You're losing on the opportunity actually. Now let's take the example of motorcycle itself. You look at a motorcycle, just have a broad look. Seat is there, throttle handle is there, fuel tank is there, suspension is there, tire tubes are there, engine is there, exhaust is there, wheel is there. Just pick up any one aspect itself. You can develop whole family of patent application. Let me take example fuel tank. You see the design itself. Now, we in Turtle Typetest have developed composite material and tested for fuel. Now, fuel tank may be made of FRP or metal or whatever. And I've seen in one case the fuel tank started leaking. It was made of metal. There was a hole in that. Composite material we have made is of powder and resin. And we have tested for acid neutrality also. So I can make a petrol tank or a diesel tank without using FRP or metal. So I get an IP, and I filed an IP for that, actually speaking. I filed a patent application with a name of safe enclosure, which encompasses everything. I can make an exhaust fan, exhaust pipe from there. I can make engine tank from there, whatever. Recently, we have come across one request from Kanjipuram. They have developed a throttle, just a throttle, which can be put in any bike. Just imagine, a product like this gives me so many IPs, and I can protect entire vehicle by 20 to 30 patent applications, and nobody can dare to touch my IP domain. Anybody who touches my seat IP will be caught. Anybody touching my throttle handle IP will be caught. So that's the fundamental thing. So you have to make a landscape of the entire possible components of a product. As I said, it's okay. You said, but why? Why means this is what it reason is. You once you have identified a problem, then try to know entire spectrum of the problem domain, and that gives a full length. Like I gave the example of motorcycle. Similarly, you can take, say, even a bicycle. You can take the bicycle has got a rim, and you got spoke, and you got handlebar, and you got battery, and you got a disc brake. It may have got Shimano gears. Then it may have a rim itself can be of a double wall rim or single wall rim, and the spoke, the material scope, the GF scope spoke, the seat post, the suspension. So just take one bicycle and see what it is. So you'll get to know what a landscape should mean, and then you identify who has not done what. Pick up that one and maybe niche area for you to work on, and then create a wealth on that. Okay. So landscape generally is very important. If you in your institute as a researcher, if you are planning a project, it will be very good to define a problem and then try to search who has done what is available for me to do. Then it will be easier for me to plan forward and create a portfolio of intellectual property and then make money out of it later on. Instead of just randomly starting a project without knowing what others have done, and by chance you may duplicate also. Then if you come to me, then it will be a problem. Because in all probability, I may already somebody has done this thing. Then you will feel disappointed. So under all conditions, please do a search and prepare a small landscape. If you can't do that, please come to us. Now we'll help you. So now, okay, you have got patent, you got everything. So now you have to find out what is price. Suppose you are giving me some IP, you have done product, your patent also. Then you have to know how much you should charge me, right? Whether it should be 1 crore or 10 lakhs or 1 lakh or 10,000. You should know its value. So we at our trust can help you to find out what is the value of your intellectual property. You may think I have paid this much money to patent office, I have paid this much attorney, I have spent that much money to my research work. You must say, I spent only 1 lakh. That is not the value. The value may be 1 crore also, depending on the market acceptability of that. $1 million also. So there's a valuation process for any IP, be it a patent or a trademark or a design. So never quote any price just like that. Be sure to value your IP. So now everything is fine. You got patent or design trademark. They're valued also. That's okay. But you cannot just go forward. You have a patent application in India. Everything is done. A lot of people are filing patent application and they're launching product in India. Now, unless you find out whether you really can use it in India or not, because it could be possible. Okay, patent office has done search, the all probably somewhere or other there might be somebody who would have done file a patent application earlier to you or launch a product earlier to you. If any product exists prior to your filing a patent application, then you are infringing on somebody's IP rights. That is very dangerous. So it's always good a professionally managed company or a other person should always try to check before giving to anybody whether patent that he has got can be really used or not. If it can be, in what way it can be used, whether everything can be used or partly can be used. For that, IP attorneys are available who will tell you, look, here is the weak point, here is strong point. So when you negotiate with somebody, tell them, look, this is what I can give you, this is what I can't give you because you can't work on that. So it is extremely important to find out to what extent I can allow you to work on the patent. Once you do that, then you have all the money in the world. Especially in Western world, they are very critical on this part. If you have an individual filed a patent application in USA, and somebody comes to you, look, this is what something I want you, but he won't take just like that. He said, first give me a legal opinion on freedom to practice of your invention. If he gives me 90% clearance, I'll be ready to pay you $1 million. If you know only 5% is allowed, then he won't come to you at all. He just run away. So to make real money out of your IP, you should be careful. Just filing an application doesn't mean anything. It is just a paper. That's all. And waste your money also. So always take help of experts and then go forward. Because I have seen actually other students, a lot of good work has happened, but it's not being utilized the way it should be. I've been telling him to use it. Let me see. Because at least 3 or 4 designably are worth patents also, not just design. Now, everything is fine. You have got everything patent, everything then. You're valued also, you got this thing also. Next comes, you can't just sit tight and enjoy life. No. 2 things can happen. One thing, of course, somebody infringing your patent, you have to be very careful. If you are infringing, then that will be taken care by freedom to operate. So first part is to be taken care of. How do you take care of anybody infringing your right? Now that is something which is very, very critical. You must be strong enough to enforce it. You have given the patent to somebody or designed to somebody. He is producing them, but somebody smart enough somewhere in Gali Mohalla, he sees and smartly copies it. You may not notice him at all. Sometime during the life cycle of product, somebody may catch him, look, he's doing same thing as you are doing. That is the point, the pain point starts. So you have to catch those infringer through legal process and then twist his neck. So here, this is called enforcement. Somebody infringing on your IP rights, you have to catch them. Which will not happen overnight, right? It will happen only much later. So once the product comes in the market, then only people will know, and then there may be people who say, oh, this is something you developed and I'm getting from somebody which is cheaper than what you are giving, then you are in trouble. And then you have to start enforcing your rights. Now, this is a snapshot. Why IP in India became very popular in 95. You might have heard of turmeric patent. Now, it was an Indian who filed a use of turmeric for healing wounds in USA. That was a time when CSIR, my alma mater, they looked into and they said, look, this is a traditional Indian knowledge. How can a US person file a patent for this? It's already known in public. It was a long war by government of India against the applicant in USA and ultimately won it also. Otherwise, suppose we had not done that, the person would have happily sold back to India and made millions of dollars. Our own knowledge coming from abroad. So this is called traditional knowledge and very famous for our country. Although we didn't file any patent application turmeric, but it was traditional available in the country. So government of India took a challenge to counter it in US patent office and they got it revoked. And we saved ourselves from that. So this is the thing. So anytime there is unlawful use of your intellectual property, you have all the right to catch the person and take him to task. Either through negotiation, okay, look, you give me money, you can continue to use my knowledge. If he doesn't accept, then you have to take him to court of law. That's for sure. Because even once the patent is published, it is available to anybody in the worldwide. And I said, you have filed a patent application in India, and after 18 months it's published and it is granted also. Anybody sitting in West Indies or Canada may be interested in your invention. Reading that, he or she can start producing that. But only problem is the grant of the IP rights is territorial. You have got a patent in India, you can't sue anybody in Canada or USA unless you have patent application there also. So that's a strategy some countries play. They don't allow any patent application to file there, and then they enjoy the rights. Cuba is one place. It doesn't have an IP office there, but they can do whatever they want to. I'll come to that also. Okay. Now, in case of trademark, this is very tricky. Patent is a published document, technical document. Now, trademark, if you see HP computer, small HP and with a circle, and Hindustan Petroleum, font is different, letters the same, but appearance is different. So people will get confused, but it can't be because small h and small p relates to laptops or computer peripherals. Big H and a big P with a road is a thing refers to petroleum product. So those things are okay, but I can't make a small h, small p and start branding my own assembled laptops. That's wrong. That will be infringing on the property of HP, Hewlett Packard. In order to take advantage of the enforcement, you have to establish documentarily that some XYZ has actually infringed on my intellectual property. Unless it is done, the court of law will not accept the case at all. So it has to be evidence. Now, technically what I tell my inventor is, look, you have got patent, be on the lookout. Whatever means you can adopt, keep track if anybody is by chance seen producing a product of your own invention. One can hire professional services, which is very, very costly. It's called IP watch services done by law firms. That is very, very costly, but unless you are an established company, it's better not to do that. But still, through your friends and whatever, by remote relatives, whatever, if somebody by chance comes to know of a product that you have filed a patent, then they can inform you, and then you can look back and start collecting data and make a document, then approach a IP attorney to explain to person. And they will take their own course of action, and then whatever can. If the infringer can be brought to books and negotiate, look, this is something wrong. Your IP has been developed by somebody, could be by innocence or by mischievous means, and can be brought to book, and they can negotiate for a good amount of financial transactions. So many times it goes to court of law. Big companies, they already, Apple and Samsung, they have been fighting over a long time for smartphone things. Bajaj and some other foreign companies have been fighting for automotive things. So this happens, but not too frequently in India. Abroad, it happens very often. So requirement is you have to establish that somebody has infringed on your intellectual property to go to court of law. Now, infringement cannot happen only after a grant. Once you have filed a patent application, you may ask for early publication or after 18 months is published, is standard procedure. Once it is available to the public in the domain, public domain, people can always access the document and read it and try to work on it. That's one part. Or they can oppose before even it is granted. Look, this is not novel. This is not having the satisfying the criteria of the patentability. Normally, these things come in patent and trademark, not in design, because design normally is having good novelties. So that's one pain point. So in pharma, it happens quite often that before the grant itself, opposition starts coming. So there again, we have to counter the objection and establish that we are novel and control will proceed. Otherwise, he will stop the process itself. So one has to be very, very careful when you go for a patent application to inform the agent and attorney exactly what you have done and exactly what additional could be done, need not have been done. I keep telling my people, look, don't hide anything from me. You may have done something with, say, mechanical engineering, some diameter, some material you've chosen. But maybe you could have chosen larger or smaller diameter and with different materials. Do that. Tell me that. So I can draft it properly and prevent anybody from countering your claims. So objection can come or infringement can come before or after the grant also. Only thing is, please keep track of the progress of the patent or any market scenario. Now, this is telling about what is the process for filing an objection. This is more of a process thing, which need not be taken too seriously right now, but only when you are in real activity of using patent, then yes, you have to be very, very careful. Now, this broad process that when you want to enforce your patent or any IP for that matter, always collect all data properly. Nothing should be left out. Otherwise, the IP attorney will not take your case at all. You say that's not there, that's not there, they will not go for it all unless everything is available to them. The date of infringement, what is the infringement done, who is the party, and then he will, after satisfying himself, he will issue a letter of notice to the infringer based on your inputs. Then the process starts. Whether it's out of court settlement or in court settlement, that's a different issue. Now, okay, you have identified the person who has copied your patent or a trademark or design, and then okay, you need some compensation. How it will be? Now it could be out as out of court. Okay, look, the person can look, sir, I will give you some royalty and some upfront payment. So matter will close, and you discuss among yourselves. The court will hear the case, and court will decide based on the seriousness of the. Suppose I am infringing on your IP, I am making product without taking permission from you, then court can tell me to stop the business totally. Or they can tell me, look, you are infringed on the person's patent or IP, give him the money. It could be substantial, not some small amount. Because the business loss to the person who's holding IP is great, so they have to compensate fully. Suppose the infringement is caught after 5 years of your getting patent, and the person has already made a lot of money. My market is eroded, so I have to get compensation. The court will decide based on the seriousness of the infringement done by the person. So both are possible. A trademark is a very tricky thing, and it is very easy to copy, but easy to caught also. And Indian trademark law, things are very, very tough. It can be imprisonment also for 10 years, rigorous, and up to 10 lakhs of penalty also. And this is where advocates make a lot of money actually. It's a very lucrative business for trademark advocates. So this is generally a snapshot of what are the takeaway for trademark process infringement. So generally in any IP area, if you want to enforce your IP, establish it has been infringed by the infringer, who could be individual or it could be company, and prepare all documentary evidence, all the dates. So what we have been discussing till now is that general components of intellectual property, 4 or 5, patent, design, trademark, copyright, trade secret, and how we protect in India locally. Generally, the process is same. You have to tell the IP agent that he will do all the things, he or she. Then after examination day, we have to satisfy the examiner that we have novel everything, and they grant preference, and then we pay the annual fees for the maintenance of the legal rights. Now, as I told, suppose you have patent application in India and product is developed here, then somebody has seen your patent document in USA, he can always copy without telling you. If you don't file a patent application in USA, then you are losing totally. Now, it is not so simple, it is not so cheap, but if you can take a risk, I keep telling my investors, please do consider, don't leave it to India only. Nowadays, you can take loans and here and there and protect. You should convince yourself first. My invention is great and can serve the worldwide market, or at least USA or Europe. Then please do not leave it to India only. That's for sure. So you must file patent application abroad also to take full advantage of your knowledge that you have developed out of your mind, intellectual property. So to go global, again there is a process. You have to go through entire same process, the filing application in the country of interest and going through a process, examination, publication. And suppose you have filed a patent application in Europe, then Europe is a combination of 25 countries, 27 countries. So their single application can be validated in all the countries, though it will cost money. So suppose you have developed some, let's say, bicycles in India, and you want to export. And if you don't have any patent application in Europe, then nobody will purchase that. No industry will take over that. And if you have patent application there abroad, Europe, then any component which is copied there, you can catch the person by hand, by neck, and enforce your patent application in Europe on a part or a product fully. So it is very critical if you are confident of the novelty of your product, that it has got a worldwide reach, at least in developed countries. Never lose this opportunity. It may be painful for money part, yes. But there are ways and means. Investors are there in the country who may help you to go abroad and they will charge some, they will fund you and but they expect some money back also. But if you are confident of valuation of your IP, then don't leave that opportunity at all. I have seen myself a lot of good design applications were there, but I am really unhappy that it is not being taken forward at all. To patent application, designs are very good, technology is also there, but I'm still waiting to get to here. Let us go file for patent. So please don't leave at just one point. Don't leave only for academic benefits only. Go forward. See, just taking patent or a design or trademark in India does not give you protection abroad without filing there. You have to file patent or design or trademark application abroad also if you want to take protection there and make money out of it, money out of your intellectual property. Okay, now let us see how do we do it. Procedure is almost same, whatever is there. A small difference are there in formatting and other responses to examination. And now, as something called Paris Convention, there are about 200 and some countries who have joined together to sign an agreement it's called Paris Convention. Under Paris Convention, if you are filing a patent application from India in USA, you will be treated as a US citizen for that matter. Same law will apply to US citizen and to you also. That's called Paris Convention. And to take advantage of this facility, suppose we have filed a patent application today, I'm calling patent right now, it applies to design also. Then you can, within 12 months of today, you can file an application in USA, and the protection date will be same date as today, not that it will be that day, no. So there were various ways and means to protect your invention abroad also. I'll come forward. You can go directly to country of interest within 12 months. which will mean, of course, a lot of money, because you have to pay a lot of money to countries where the English is not a language that you have to pay translation also, like South Korea, Japan, or China. But USA, Canada, UK, Europe also, English will work, no problem. But fees in Indian rupees is very costly because they charge in dollars or euros. So conversion will be costly. So there's a method to defer the financial burden that is called PCT route. One is you can directly go to USA or Europe within 12 months, or you can file a single application, what a patent cooperation treaty. There is a UN office in Geneva, World Intellectual Property Organization. You can file a single application there within 12 months, of course. Then from there, if you file a PCT, then from within 30 months from date of India filing, you can file any other countries. Today you filed, and let's say in the month of May you filed through PCT application. Then today, now 2021, so by 2023 June, you can file in USA, Europe, or whatever. So you can defer your financial burden to that date up to 30 months from today. Instead of going directly to country, you can defer it by 30 months if you file through patent cooperation treaty route. It's a very elaborate procedure which can take another session later on. If you need, I can talk to it later on. So on foreign filing, actually speaking. So this is one thing. Once you file PCT, then what we call as a national phase entry. That is after filing PCT application from 18 months from India filing date to 30th month, you can go to as many countries as you want. Normally about 280 countries are there. But for each country, you have to pay the fees anyway. So it becomes very costly. So normally what we do is go to Europe, go to USA, Japan, South Korea, which are developed, and maybe Australia also, and UK. Other countries we decide based on the market potential. There's no point filing in Sudan where there's no market at all. Normally USA, Europe are prominent countries. Russia also may not be that much important because manufacturing has to be seen. This gives a PC route. This gives within 12 months you have to file the application. The process remains same. You have to prepare technical document with all the sections and give to the patent office. They transmit to the international office. Then they publish in 18 months. Then all entire same process was what we learned in India case. There is no difference as such. Only formatting will be different. So, in a nutshell, what I would say is intellectual property is not just filing a patent application or design or a trademark or whatever. It is a career. Anybody can take it as a career who is a science graduate or engineering graduate. One can adopt it as a career becoming a patent agent by passing qualifying exam from Government of India, or one is staying in US for 6 months, they can apply for USPTO agents. And this is really a great service to society if you can adopt this as a career, because not many people know the importance of intellectual property as such. The wealth hidden in the intellectual property is very huge, very huge. In the recent pandemic, you might seen a lot of invention has come up. Very small people made great things, and a lot of investors have put in money there. So invention is not a monopoly of technologists or scientists or medical people. It is for anybody, right from artisans to musicians to engineers or whatever. So thank you very much for your patient listening. I hope I have done within time allotted to me.
Thank you, sir.
Yeah.
Yes, if any participants are having any doubt, then you can ask to the sir. You can also put your queries in chat box. Sir will definitely answer those questions.
good morning, sir.
Yeah.
Yes.
Sir, as a academician, which one is best? You tell me patent, copyright, design, and five things. So which one is the best in five things as an academician, not an investor? As an academician, sir.
As a academician.
Yes, sir.
Now, if you are an engineer or scientist, I will put patent as first place.
So the utility patent and design patent is same or some difference in these?
Utility patent is a direct product actually. It could be a process patent also in normal in chemical engineering.
So in present scenario, NAC, NBA, and IS ranking, every university say the many patents, film patents, design patent, and etc. So which one is valuable in respect of an IS ranking, NBA, and NAC, sir? Design patent is valuable, yes or no, sir?
I couldn't listen properly, sir. Can you repeat, sir?
Actually, sir, in present scenario, NBA, NAC, and IS ranking, different type is society of the UGC and AICT is still the patent I find given a point. So which one is design patent is valuable for the NAC and NBA accreditation?
Design patent is basically a drawing, actually speaking. It does not describe the invention or technology. Like I remember correctly that there was one design application of rupee sanitizing box written by Dr. Upadhyay students. That is just what is visible to us. That goes a design. Or there was no mop also, I think, swiper it's called, for granted. But what goes into that making is a patent application, which tells you technology of the fabrication of the product. That will be utility patent.
Okay, sir. Thank you very much, sir. Thank you.
Yes, sir. There is one more question in chat box from Pradeep Dara, sir. If we develop any new equation in statics, then it will be protected?
Can you repeat, sir? I forgot. The
Can we develop a new equation in statistics and
no mathematical thing is not a patent.
okay, means mathematical things we
not
cannot
a patent.
protect in okay. Okay, anyone else? Okay, if you are not having any doubt, then we will conclude this session. This session was very much informative. Dr. Ashwini Kumar sir has elaborated the term intellectual property and its types in a very interesting and effective manner. Keeping aside the age factor, sir has delivered a very beautiful and energetic session. This is a great thing and it's a great inspiration to all of us. Sir, we all enjoyed your session. On behalf of A.G. Patil Polytechnic Institute, Solapur, I would like to thank Dr. Ashwini Kumar sir for conducting such a wonderful session and for sparing your valuable time with us. I am also thankful to all the participants for your active participation and making this session more interactive and successful. Once again, thank you so much to all. Here we will conclude the first session. After a short lunch break, second session will begin at 1 p.m. The second session will be on role of trademark and overview of IPR laws in India. And the speaker is Mr. Sudeep Upadhyay, Assistant Professor at A.G. Patil Institute of Technology, Solapur. Meanwhile, stay tuned with us on same link. Thank you very much. Have a good day ahead.
Thank you, sir.